chakras are a lot different than the lower chakras, which is why I was really certain on like I need to group them differently because they have different mechanisms, and it can get confusing if you never heard of the chakras or you're just like new to the practice. So the higher chakras are more about our mindset, our intuitive awareness, how we cultivate intuition in our lives, and embodying our higher self, which really means rising into our authentic self. So you start to see that the lower chakras are more physical and they're more about like how we formed our identity, whereas the higher chakras are more like cerebral and they're more based on mindset and transcending beliefs and cultivating our intuition and the higher realms basically. So the higher chakras really are interesting in manifestation for getting us into our vision and learning to cultivate our intuition through aligned action. And that aligned action is what becomes our fuel for how we create in the world around us. I mean, if you were to connect how we basically make decisions in our lives, that's actually all influenced by the third eye and how we perceive our decisions. So the higher chakras, when it comes to manifestation, are about how do we perceive reality and what is the vision we are creating through our mind's eye, and how do we feel deserving and worthy of that vision and of that truth and of that desire that we received from the crown of the divine. So let's just dive into the heart chakra, my absolute favorite. Okay, so the heart chakra is all about our relationships, and most importantly, our emotional relationship we have with ourselves. It's also obviously connected to love and how we love ourselves, and most of all, how we are treating ourselves, how we are associating with our body, how we are associating with our mind, how we literally perceive ourselves from an emotional state. So if we have trouble in the heart chakra, we probably have issues in our relationships. We might have a lot of friction in our relationships. We could have struggles or fights or jealousy or resentment. And we have a lot of hard times with trust. So we might have a lot of problems with trust in our relationships. We could have jealousy issues. We could have like a paranoia showing up. And we can also have this, instead of having like a physical relationship problem, we could also have an emotional relationship with ourselves, such as, are you the person that's always beating yourself up? Do you have a lot of self-judgment towards yourself? Do you always kind of have a lot of negative self-attack? Do you hate your body? Do you self-sabotage yourself? Do you constantly put yourself last to the point where you just don't even care about your body? You neglect yourself. All of that is very heart-centered based because it's all about how we perceive ourselves through love. So growing up, if we had issues with how we were nurtured, if we had issues in our relationships, if we had issues with, and I don't just mean romantic relationships, I mean like all of our relationships. So, you know, your relationships with your family, your relationships with your business, your relationships with your spouse or your partner, all of that is interconnected, because how we show up for our heart is basically what we perceive and deserve. So how we are showing up for the heart is what we believe that we accept, allow, and deserve in our life. And the thing that's so incredibly powerful about understanding the heart center is when we have troubles in the heart center, it's really about, there's a part of us unconsciously that doesn't feel worthy or deserving of allowing in the good in our life. We don't feel accepting of the good in our life. And so, as we are all basically love beings, we came into the world through love, we are created through love. When our heart center is imbalanced, we don't believe we are fully worthy or deserving of receiving love in our life. So that translates to, we need to feel like we have to earn love in our life. We may have to guard our heart. We may feel very closed off emotionally. We may feel as if we have a heart guard in front of us. So we may feel very cold or cynical. And sometimes if you have a blocked heart, you may be very like bitter and just kind of have that animosity towards everyone around you. And it's really sad when you see a blocked heart chakra, because it's as if they don't really care. They have no empathy. Whereas, if someone has a very extremely overactive heart chakra, they might put their heart on their sleeve. They might be like over giving to the point of burnout and exhaustion, and like, please love me, because it's like, I need to give everything to you. Basically. So the heart is really fascinating because it shows us, what do we feel we are worthy of in our life? What do we feel we are deserving of in our life? How are we showing up emotionally in our relationships and for ourselves? And how do we perceive love? So the heart is really about self-acceptance and understanding ourselves. So as we continue our hidden gems of the chakra system, the heart is ultimately about activating our pure deservingness, what we feel we deserve in the world, how we feel we should manifest in the world is based on our deservingness, and self-acceptance. So it's really about understanding, how do you accept yourself? Do you fear rejection? Do you fear that someone's just, going to hate you? Do you feel unlovable? All of that is stuff that was created in how we grew up, but also it doesn't even necessarily have to be like a trauma. It could be just you had something happen to you when you were growing up that, maybe someone rejected you and you took that really personally, and then it built it off of another belief and another belief and another belief, and eventually those beliefs snowballed so much that it became part of your experience, and then inevitably you just believed that you're unlovable and undeserving of love. So it's really fascinating how the heart chakra really plays a central role into manifestation. Hina says, I do get burnt out oversharing, but then I do take the time out for myself. Love is first when I need for myself and others. Yeah, so a lot of the heart chakra is really about, how do you give back to yourself, and what are you giving? Like, what are you giving and what are you receiving? Because the heart is central to how we give to the world around us and how we are receiving love to the world around us. And ultimately that's about unconditional love, which is, the basis of the universe and how we came to be. The heart is really, the stronger brain of our relationships. It shows us how we can attract more loving, unconditional relationships. And not just romantically, I mean, with your children, with your family, with your business. We must understand that relationships isn't just romantically. It's about, ourselves, our business. We have a relationship with our business or our career. We have a relationship with our children. All of this is paramount to how our body communicates back to us. And also, these mirrors of our relationships are showing us how we see ourselves.